Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Karen Smith. I live in Lexington, South Carolina. I'm here as a private citizen and neighbor to respectfully urge you to vote no on Senate Bills 849, 1001, and 355. Each of these bills amends our alcohol laws in a way that sounds small and technical. S 849 tweaks Section 61-2-170 on drive-through and curbside services to create new exceptions and authorizes alcohol delivery and curbside pickup. S 1001 creates a new retail alcoholic beverage center catering license to let caterers buy liquor and serve it at events. S 355 changes when micro distilleries can hold tastings and retail sales and how much liquor they can sell to a person in one day. Those phrases provide certain exceptions, new license, modify the time, modify the amount, sound modest. But in communities like mine, they all point in the same direction. More alcohol, more of the time, in more places, with more opportunities for harm. South Carolina already pays a high price for alcohol-related crashes and deaths. We're talking on the order of one alcohol-impaired traffic death a day statewide. I know this all too well. In 1997, my 11-year-old son, Drew, was killed by a drunk kindergarten teacher while fishing with my husband on Lake Murray. In South Carolina, we see those statistics as real people. At Neely Wingard Road and Ben Franklin Road, 2 women were killed when a suspected drunk driver hit their car. The driver now faces felony DUI charges. That's the kind of intersection many of us drive through on a normal evening. I remember hearing about that crash and thinking, that could have been my family. When you live with that reality as I do, it's hard to understand why we would choose to make alcohol more convenient and more omnipresent than it already is. On S 849, it is titled Alcohol Delivery and Curbside Pickup. It loosens the current ban on drive-through or curbside service and sets up rules so beer, wine, and liquor can be handed out at the curb or delivered to homes. On paper, it requires ID checks and says the state has a substantial interest in public safety. In practice, it pushes alcohol transactions out of controlled store counters and into parking lots and front porches. That means age checks and sobriety judgments are made by hurried employees and drivers in bad lighting, under time pressure, at thousands of different locations. Law enforcement already struggles to run compliance checks at a finite number of stores. They simply cannot police thousands of handoffs at car windows and front doors. That makes it easier for alcohol to end up with underage drinkers or people who are already impaired. S 849 also makes it much easier for people who are already drinking to quickly get more alcohol. Decades of research show that when alcohol becomes cheaper or easier to get, more outlets, longer hours, home delivery, consumption and related harms go up. Higher alcohol taxes and prices are associated with fewer alcohol-related traffic fatalities and fewer alcohol-related deaths overall. One University of Florida study, which was published in the American Journal of Public Health in 2010, found that doubling alcohol taxes could reduce alcohol-related mortality by roughly 1/3 and traffic crashes by about 1/10. Flip that around. making alcohol more available and effectively cheaper in terms of effort tends to increase impaired driving and fatalities. During the pandemic, when more drinking shifted into the home and deliveries expanded, DUI crashes and deaths in South Carolina began climbing again after years of improvement. Bringing alcohol to your doorstep or car window removes one of the few natural brakes on impulsive drinking, the need to be sober enough to go to the store. What happens when package deliveries are left at the wrong house or dropped without a knock? That might be annoying when it's groceries, yet when it's a bottle of liquor that ends up with a stranger, teenager, that's a public safety problem. On S-1001, it creates a new retail alcoholic beverage caterer license and a permitting process for caterers to serve liquor at special events and private events. Many of those events are not adult-only cocktail parties. They are fairs, festivals, charity fundraisers, and community celebrations where children and teenagers are present right alongside adults. Yet the bill adds no child-specific safeguards. There is nothing to ensure that alcohol is physically separated from youth areas, that lines and ID checks are managed in ways that keep kids from easy access, or that aggressive alcohol marketing is kept away from family zones. We are increasing liquor service at events where children are present without designing protections for them into the law. There is also a fairness and democracy problem. On Sunday liquor store sales, our state is debating whether counties and cities should be able to decide by referendum, letting local voters choose whether Sunday hours are appropriate for their community. But for special catered events under this bill, there is no community vote. Neighbors do not get to approve or reject a liquor-heavy festival in the park down the street or repeated alcohol-focused events at a local hall. That decision is made between a caterer, an organizer, and the state, and the community just has to live with the consequences. Timing makes that worse. Temporary permits for catered events can be approved with as little as 48 hours notice. 48 hours is not enough time for sheriffs or police chiefs to schedule extra deputies, set up traffic control, or coordinate with EMS for a large alcohol-serving event. In Lexington County, staffing and overtime are planned weeks in advance. A 48-hour notice might tell them a problem is coming, but does not give them a real chance to be ready. Finally, if this bill this adds a whole new class of licenses and temporary permits, but no additional enforcement resources. And unlike brick-and-mortar restaurants, which are regularly inspected for food, safety, and sanitation, these temporary catered bars at fairs and social events are not held to the same ongoing inspection standards, even though they serve high-proof alcohol. On S-335, it changed the law so micro distilleries can conduct tastings and retail sales for longer hours and sell more liquor per customer per day.
Ma'am, I'm going to, if I could ask you to pause for one moment. What we're going to try to do going forward here is if people have written testimony, I'd like that to be handed in. And then we're going to try to give everybody 5 minutes going forward, and then Q&A, because it's going to be really hard on timing we've got like 11 or 12 people signed up. I just want to be respectful that everybody can be heard today. So I
don't have much more. It won't take me but about another minute.
Okay, but going forward, any other written statements, I need those to be handed in for the record, just for everybody else, please. And then we'll take it as testimony. We'll put it in the record, and we'll certainly give you a chance to testify. We're just going to need to kind of keep folks to 5 minutes if we can, just out of respect for everybody. Go ahead and finish that, then you can hand it in, and then we will keep moving, try to give everybody a chance to speak. Restaurants fall under a retail food safety program with regular inspections of their kitchens and food handling. Distillery testing rooms are not inspected in the same way as restaurants.
Yes, S355 will relax limits on when and how much high-proof alcohol they can serve and sell. In areas around Lexington, that means more people leaving distilleries later at night after sampling stronger drinks than driving home on two-lane, poorly lit roads where we already see serious crashes. In a state that consistently struggles with DUI, I do not believe we should extend tasting hours and increase daily liquor limits at distilleries without stronger safeguards and oversight. If a restaurant wants to serve hamburgers, salads, and beer, it accepts routine health inspections, but under these bills, a distillery that serves high-proof liquor can get longer hours and larger daily sales without taking on equivalent inspection obligations. That doesn't make sense. When you put these three bills together, the pattern is clear. S849 normalizes alcohol arriving at your car and your door. S1001 pushes liquor service into more temporary event spaces, many with children present, without giving communities a direct say or law enforcement enough time to prepare. S335 extends testing hours and increases daily sales for high-proof spirits in venues that are not inspected like restaurants. All three increase alcohol availability in time, place, and volume without adding enforcement resources or public health safeguards. And the broader evidence is not ambiguous. A January 2025 study from Insight Recovery Treatment Center shows that when alcohol becomes cheaper and easier to get, consumption and alcohol-related deaths go up. When alcohol becomes more expensive and harder to get, through higher taxes, limited hours, or stricter control, consumptions and deaths go down. One major review found that doubling alcohol taxes could reduce alcohol-related mortality by roughly a third and traffic crashes by about a tenth. A study by the Addiction Care Intervention Group found that a 10% increase in alcohol prices is associated with roughly a 5% decrease in alcohol-related traffic deaths. We do not need to reinvent the science. We just need to decide whether we want more availability and more funerals, or more guardrails and fewer deaths. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, as a South Carolinian and a parent, I want everyone's children to grow up in a state where we take drunk driving and alcohol-related harm seriously. I want to see the number of alcohol-impaired deaths go down, not up. We would never say, let's make it easier to speed through school zones, and then act surprised when more children are hurt. In the same way, we should not expand alcohol delivery to doorsteps and car windows, expand liquor service at family events where children are present without community approval, and extend high-proof testings at distilleries without restaurant-level safeguards. And then act surprised when we see more crashes and more grieving families. I respectfully urge you to vote no on S849, S1001, and S355. Thank you for your time and your service to our state.
Thank you, ma'am. And you can give us the transcript of that if you'd like it to be in the record beyond just an oral testimony. Any questions from members of the subcommittee for Ms. Smith?
Yes, sir.
All right, Senator from Sumter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I appreciate it. Ma'am, thank you for your passion on this. I hear that you've been on these issues for a very long time, and we appreciate your steadfastness to it. One of the questions I just immediately, after we heard a half hour of testimony essentially on three different bills, my first question is there anything that we could do to change these bills to make it palatable for you and your organization?
Just use some common sense and think what it would be like if you were one of the parents who lost a child.
Understand,
What your opinion on all of this would be.
Sure. All right. Well, and absolutely, common sense. Got it. We're absolutely going to use common sense as much as I can, but that didn't answer my question.
In moral obligation.
No, I totally get it. Moral obligation as well. Understood. what I'm asking you, is there anything in particular that, just say, I mean, we talked about 3 bills here, just say for the first one, 1001, is there anything that would allow this bill to be acceptable for you and your organization that we, as a policymaking entity, could do to help you out? Other than common sense and other than moral clarity. So
That's it.
I heard a no from the crowd, so I'm assuming that with your, okay, so there's nothing. Also, I want to point out, and I'm not sure if this tab A 101 Crime Victims Council, there's a very good study in there. It does, unfortunately, and I say, and I am looking it over, and I do have some issues with the credibility of your sourcing. You mentioned you use Fitz News in here. Everybody knows Fitz News is not real news. And they're pay for play. They're going to, whomever's paying that outfit well enough, they're going to run whatever story they're going to be asked to do. So I would suggest that you keep Fitz News out of your studies because they're not helping your cause. Let me ask you this. Does this bill, in your opinion, allow, particularly with catering, allow caterers to serve more alcohol per capita in the events, or does it just expand the availability of events that they can
I think
participate
it's
in?
probably both.
I'm not asking probably, ma'am. I'm asking from your opinion, does it do
My
this?
opinion is I think it expands it.
Okay, so there's nothing in the bill that I read. Is there an author of the bill that can speak to this at some point? I don't see anywhere in there that it does that. It just expands the availability of caterers to participate in catering events that allow serving of alcohol. So
Then, after the next person's testimony, Senator Zell could not resist piling on.
the last conversation we had on this is, I believe if there's any place that we could work or have any issue that, that some folks may oppose, or that's some place that we could certainly tighten up for sure. But throwing the baby out with the bathwater and just a hard no on any of these bills is just not an answer. It's not a policy.